So this PowerPoint right now that we are going to go through is how to request time off as a faculty member, full-time and adjunct. This is how you will request time off now. I know we are all used to going in and just putting in our timesheet that we have taken sick leave, vacation, or personal leave. With ctcLink, it will look a little bit different as far as it being a new system, as well as the reporting time and requesting time off are two separate modules. So the system, being that you don't have to report your hours worked, may not look that different to you, but for us, it's definitely getting used to using different setups. So I'm going to switch here. So when you are requesting leave, so you can now request time off for the pay period that we just passed. So when you get the email from Tish Evora saying timesheets are due now, that goes out to all college. If you have time that you took off in that pay period, you can go in and request the time off then. Or if you know you have a vacation that you want to take in, let's say, early June. I know that's not really a realistic time frame for you all as you're coming up on the end of the quarter there, but just going to use that time frame. So if you know you have that vacation coming up early June, and it is now, the last week of February, you can request that time off now ahead of time. So just to, you're going to take it. So you go in and request it, and your supervisor can approve or deny that ahead of time. So that way it's just done and off your plate. So we do say leave requests must be made in accordance with your collective bargaining agreement, right? That really just means making sure that number one, it's time that is available to you based on your collective bargaining agreement. Our full-time faculty, you have you have sick leave and you have personal leave. And then same with our adjunct faculty, you are not used to using this system at all for your sick leave. So this will be new for you, as I know you are used to going in and just filling out actually a paper timesheet. So definitely going to look different for you. Leave requests do not replace the need to stay in touch with your supervisor, right? So going in and requesting sick leave off or a personal day, it might be easier to still just communicate that to your supervisor, just to give them a heads up that that's coming through. If it is really one of those situations where, again, just use the end of the quarter as an example, you can, if you have an emergency and you need to take personal time or sick leave, but your supervisor is thinking, wow, isn't your final coming up or grades are due? And it might be nice just to give them that heads up so they don't deny it. And then you have to go back in and request it. So, and again, each division has their own practice based on the needs, right? Whether or not they need a substitute and how much leave you'll be reporting. So how do we actually get into the system? So we now have this website that we want to go to. The gateway ctcLink. So you cannot use Explorer for this. It will allow you to log in, but a lot of times it doesn't actually, once you enter your username or password, it doesn't continue on for you. Or sometimes if you go to this link on Internet Explorer, it just keeps thinking. So the preferred is Chrome or Firefox. So this is where you will enter your new ctcLink EMPL ID is what we are calling it. And then you would click next. And then this is what it looks like. So you click or submit your EMPL ID. Next, you enter your password, hit verify, and it will take you to a screen that looks like this. So this is a screenshot. So it does extend over. So one way for you to go in to request your absence is you can select down here where it says HCM self-service, or there will be up top here, it'll say HCM. You can select either. So the next step, the fourth step, is you will be in your employee self-service section. I could go on and on about this employee self-service section. I think everyone is going to be so happy where the things that you can do on here where you don't have to email us anymore asking to change, you're going to be very happy. But this is just for time off, so I will stick to that. So you will want to select your time tile. So at the top of the page, you're going to see where it says select a job. So for some of you, you will only have one job. You won't have to actually select anything. So for our full-time faculty, tenured faculty, any assistant, associate faculty, where it's your contract that you get annually, you don't have to change anything here. You will only have that one job. For folks who are adjunct faculty and work with us, and let's say work with Everett as an adjunct faculty, you will have to go in here and select the position, the adjunct faculty position with LWTech to request that time off with LWTech. So that's where it can get a little tricky. You just have to make sure that you are selecting the right position. If you don't teach anywhere else within the system, don't worry about it. You still will only have that adjunct faculty position here unless you work with us in another capacity as well. And then again, you're just making sure you're selecting the right position. And Corinne, I do see some chats coming up here. Oh, okay. Oh, I do have to say Edge, they still don't recommend Edge. It is comparable and I'm sure it would be fine. I just know from what we've been told from SBCTC is that Chrome and Firefox is the preferred, where it's going to, yeah, exactly what Corinne just said. But okay. Okay, so again, just my last statement here, making sure you're picking the right position that you are currently working. And then this is what your tile is going to look like. Some of you, well, all of you will have all of this, right? If you had to report time, this is where you would do it. But as a faculty member, both full-time and adjunct, you are requesting time off. So here is where you're going to select request absence. You'll notice down here, this is also where you can check to see how much sick leave and how much personal leave you have. You can, let's say you've already requested time off. You can view those requests here to see if they've been approved or not. You can also cancel those here. So I'm just going in and showing everyone the basics today, as I know this is kind of what everybody needs right away for that very first payroll. So when we get to that request absence page, again, it's going to look somewhat similar, but a little bit different just because it is a new system. So the request absence page does display. So you're going to select the absence name from the drop down. So as a faculty member, you have the 260 leave. So we have, yes, Greg, it is really nice to have the tiles, and I don't know if it was designed for mobile devices, but it can be used on mobile devices, which is a very big perk for us as well. Okay, I'm going to turn that off or else I will not finish a page before I go back to chat. Sorry. So common leave request types. LWTech's code is 260. So you will see a lot of things labeled in the system as LWTech 260, just 260. You'll see it be a kind of a common theme. So 260 personal leave right here. And again, you know how personal leave is allowed to be used. So that can be used as a vacation, personal appointments. So those are just days that you're requesting personal leave. The 260 sick leave. Again, you know how to use your sick leave. And then I know as a faculty member, you don't accrue vacation, so we won't use that. But please reach out to us if you have any questions on the type of leave you should use if you're needing to request that. And then down here, we just have something in bold where on the tiles, it does ask you to select an absence reason. You do not have to do that unless you are requesting family medical leave or paid FML, which you'll see that available in those drop-down sections. But other than that, you don't have to give a reason for your absence. So you can just ignore it if it's the typical sick leave and personal leave. Apologies here. All right, so step 8, you'll see here where this is what comes up. So I chose, I'm going to take some personal leave. So 260 personal leave. I'm leaving that reason code blank because it's just me taking personal leave. I want to start taking it on 3/11, and that's going to be the end date on 3/11. And so I'm going to just take 8 hours of personal leave. I don't have to add any comments, but you absolutely can here if you would like. So that's if you are taking a full day absence. So this just extends it a little bit more. So as an employee, you're able to take full day absence and partial day absence. So I'm going to go over the full day absence first. So you'll have this page display here. So again, in the reason, you're using your job title. Here, I'm taking personal leave. I don't have to select that reason. My start date. I would put in an end date, which it would be the same day because I would be returning on 2/20. And I'm going to take 6 hours. Again, comments, you don't have to take that. Partial day, I'm leaving that marked as none because I'm taking 6 hours. That is my full day. If I am taking partial days, so here are some screenshots of what that looks like. And I will read this to you. So for partial days, that's anything less than 6 hours. So in the reason code, again, you don't have to put an actual reason there. You're going to, again, select that start date and end date. Comments if you would like. Click on none next to partial days. And then you'll see a drop-down box come through. So if I'm just taking that one day, I'm going to mark all days. So for half day, you'll leave it as all days or half days, and you're going to toggle that to yes right here. For less than half days, you're going to toggle to no. So if I'm taking a full half day, I know the example was 6 hours, so I'm just going to stick with that. So if I'm taking less than the 3 hours, I would mark it as no. For half day, as 3 hours, I'm going to keep it as yes. And then again, it's just as a reminder, less than half days, you're toggling it to no because you want it to be less, right? You're going to put in the duration right here. And then you'd click done. I'm going to come back to this because it kind of just explains it a little bit more, but I want to finish the process, right? So here's where I would hit submit. So this is what my time looks like. You can see down here, it tells you your balance hours, which is another good idea, or not a good idea, but a good way to check to see if you have the time. If you are requesting time off, you can view multiple balances down here, and you can view multiple requests down here. So this is really just definitions. So that's kind of why I wanted to skip this page and go to the next, just to show you how to finish that process. So partial day drop-down menu. So if it's not a partial day, you're going to leave it as none. There's no partial day, you're taking a full day off. Your end day only. You can select start dates and end dates and have multiple times off or durations is amount of hours in those days. So I can have my end day only be a partial day. I can have my start day only be a partial day. And you can have both start and end date be partial days. Or you can request all of your time off if you're doing, let's just say, a block, right? A full week. You can do all of those days as partial days. So that's where you would use that over here, partial day, right here. So in this example, we have given an example of I want all days as partial days.
Question on providing us examples of how to use FMLA in this submitting absence part. So can you go back to the screenshots that show you where the reason is?
Right here where it says reason, there is a drop down and you'd be able to select FMLA there. And so unless it's FMLA, you don't have to put any reason code in there. FMLA or the paid FML, which the paid FML is through Employment Security Department, but we have to record those hours. So that's why it has to have a reason code there.
Has a question about how many hours you would need to submit if you were submitting for FMLA.
It would be the hours that you're scheduled to work. So you would be doing it per pay period, the hours that you're scheduled to work. And then for so the question, would it be for hours of the whole last quarter? No, it would only be for hours in that pay period. All of the other hours recorded for the last quarter are still in our legacy system. So that legacy system or PPMS, TLR, what you're used to using, is still all available for payroll to go back and use those records. So you don't have to go back in and report time off from the last quarter. You'll just be kind of going forward as is.